I was born and raised in Elkhart, Indiana. I graduated from Elkhart Memorial, which is now Elkhart. They merged together with Memorial and Central, but I graduated from Elkhart Memorial in 1989. I have one older sister, Amy, who currently is a teacher as well, and she is at Delphi High School in Delphi, Indiana. After high school, I did go on to college at Indiana University, where I went on a football scholarship, played tight end at Indiana University. I was redshirted my freshman year, then played 4 years, started my junior and senior year, and then after that, I actually had the opportunity to play basketball at Indiana University for the legendary Bobby Knight, which was a wonderful experience. And then even after that, I had the opportunity, I was invited to go to the NFL Combine. I went to the NFL Combine, which again was a wonderful experience, and ended up not being drafted in the NFL draft, but I did actually sign a free agency with the New York Jets. Went to a mini camp with the New York Jets. Then after the mini camp, really kind of came to the realization that my heart wasn't in it anymore, and it was time to put that part of my life, which was a wonderful athletic part of my life, put that behind and get on with the next stage of life. Actually, going into college, I really didn't have a clue what I wanted to get into. I actually started in criminal justice and spent two or three classes in the criminal justice and talking to people about what they were looking to do within the criminal justice system, and I majors, and I wasn't really what I was looking for. So it really took me about a year and a half, general studies, which most freshman and sophomore students in college take, and after my experience, I think at college athletically is when dealing with the coaches there, dealing with the friends, and knowing, being part of athletics, I wanted to get into coaching, and that goes hand in hand with education. Both my parents were actually teachers, grew up in that environment. My dad actually played football at Purdue, and he was a coach, and we were constantly around that setting, and it took a year and a half for me to realize, but that's kind of where everything was leading me to, is to get into education. So kind of switched things around, had to pick up a few classes, and then went into the education side of it. Well, after graduating from Indiana University, my first teaching job was actually at Cherubusco High School. I spent 5 years teaching at Cherubusco High School. First year I was assistant coach for football, basketball, and track. And then after that first year, the varsity basketball position opened. And I took the varsity basketball position there at Cherubusco, where I spent 4 years teaching and the head basketball coach at Cherubusco. After that, I ended up coming here to West Noble and spent 2 years as an assistant coach under Tom Skimmerhorn. And then Tom decided to move on and retire from coaching, and I moved into the head coaching job for basketball here at West Noble, where I spent 9 years as the head basketball coach. And then after that 9th year, I was at Westview and spent 9 years as the junior varsity coach at Westview. And then 2 years ago, I decided to hang up the coaching and retired from coaching. So I've been away from coaching at that point. But to answer your initial question, this is year 27 for me teaching, the 22nd year at West Noble. Initially, at Cherubusco, it was PE and health. And we ranged from, I had a number of middle school PE classes and a couple high school weightlifting classes and 1 or 2 general PE classes at Cherubusco. Came here and actually had morning PE classes, and in the afternoon they actually had a new course which they called character education. So I was in the classroom. Probably for about 4 or 5 years, I was in the classroom in the afternoon with the character education classes, which at the time Bill Anders was the principal here, and he and I kind of developed a curriculum for the character education classes for 5th and 6th graders, which it was enjoyable being in the classroom. Then after that 5th year, I think, of character education, I went full-time to PE, and it was 5th through 8th grade physical education. Diversity of the students. That is the one thing I have really enjoyed with my years here at West Noble, is just we've had a number of students coming in from different cultures, different pasts, where, I mean, kids are the same wherever you go. You travel all over the country, all over the world, kids are going to be the same, they're going to act the same. But their culture and their traditions will be different. And I think I've really enjoyed getting to know the history and the traditions that some of these kids come from, and where they'll travel back during the holidays, back with their families, Texas, Mexico, all over the world, and then when they come back, it's just neat to talk to those kids. So I think that opens a wonderful opportunity not only for us as teachers, but also the other students to get to know their fellow classmates in a different way. I'd have to say my parents. They're, and you hear it from everybody, they're the first teachers you're ever going to have, and so much you learn is from your parents and how they react to problems at home, how they react to problems around the world, how they deal with people when you're at a restaurant. So first and foremost, it has to be the parents, and I've been blessed to have 2 wonderful parents. Unfortunately, my mom passed away about 13 years ago to cancer, but very fortunate my dad still living and lives on our property, built a house on our property, so I'm able to see my dad every single night, go and spend an hour or 2 with my dad at night, so that's been neat. Also to hear the stories of when my dad was growing up, talking to him about playing football and who his friends were, girlfriends, and all that other stuff, so that's been neat over time to get to know my dad a little bit more. So parents definitely were the big one for me. And then as you go through school, coaches, obviously, huge impact. In college, again, like I had mentioned, I had the opportunity to play for a wonderful football coach in Bill Mallory, and then Coach Knight, and those 2 are just larger-than-life personalities and individuals who couldn't help but have an impact on how I coach, how I teach, how I interact with not only the players I had, but the students and the people I'm around. So opened so many doors for me and so many opportunities. My wife, Candace, who is now here teaching 8th grade English. It's wonderful to have here at the school in one location. Initially, she had taught at Concord, spent 9 years at Concord, then was at West Noble High School for a number of years. Then she moved on to Westview, coached at Westview for about 8 or 9 years, and then now is back here at West Noble, so it's nice to have her here. We have 3 children. Our oldest, Gracie, she graduated from Valparaiso University, played basketball there, and she is now working in Indianapolis. Our middle child, Elijah, is a junior at DePauw, playing basketball, looking to get into law school, doing all the things he needs to do to get ready for law school, hopefully. And then our youngest, Avery, is a junior in high school, and she goes to Warsaw High School. The advice I would give to anybody would just be yourself. Don't try to change who you are to please anybody else. You're never going to please everybody. And I think by being yourself and that's going to surround you with people who will truly like you and want to be around you for who you are truly, as opposed to being something you're not, drawing people who are not like you and not liking you for who you are. So probably my biggest advice would be, just be who you are, and eventually it's gonna lead you to be surrounded by people who like you for who you are.